All right, continuing on our Getting You Started with Game Dev in 2025 series. Apparently, that's what I'm doing. Today, we're going to talk about tools for new game devs. And in particular, what I think are the best core tools for new game devs getting started out, ones that I think are going to really carry you the distance, and they're going to help you improve your workflow a lot and help you stay organized and ship your game. Picking the right tools is really important in my opinion. It can really help you work more efficiently or slow you down if you pick a tool that doesn't work well for your workflow. These are ones that, no surprise, I use and I think are great, and I think are also great for people getting started out. Otherwise, I wouldn't be telling you about them. Now, a couple things I will say is I'm talking about core tools. And what I mean by core tools are those tools that you use across everything you do, not necessarily for a specific task. I'll contrast that to domain tools or like specialist tools that are suited for doing one thing and doing that one thing really well. This will all make sense in a minute when I talk about it. Just keep that differentiation in mind as we're going forward. The three core tools I'm going to cover today for you are ones that I think can grow with you over time, both as you improve in your game dev practice and if you happen to scale out and get more people and bring them on board to work with you. So enough of me yammering about these things. Let's jump into those tools. Okay, first up, meeting your core tools, is Obsidian. This one is actually kind of the core of most things that I do, game dev or not. I use Obsidian to take notes. It is a note-taking app, and it's based on using just Markdown files. So all of your data are kept locally. You don't have to sync them to the cloud if you don't want to. There is a sync product. I use it. It's pretty affordable, and it really does help. But you can keep them all locally. You can manage that all yourself if you want to. Obsidian itself is really easy to set up. It's really easy to use because it's just a text editor at the end of the day. If you don't know Markdown, Markdown is a special kind of markup language, pun intended, that you use to style text as you're writing it. You've probably seen it in use somewhere on the internet because it's pretty much everywhere at this point. It's the thing where you type a hash symbol or the number sign, depending on how old you are, and you get a header 1, you do double hash, you get header 2, so on and so forth. Star is italics, double star is bold, that kind of thing. I'm not going to go through the whole Markdown list for you. I'll try to link one down there in case anyone's curious about Markdown, and I'll definitely have a link to all these tools in the bottom of the description. Now, why is Obsidian better than tools for, say, Google Docs or Notion? That's because I think Obsidian is really distraction free, or it can be really distraction free if you choose not to opt into the distracting features, which in my case, I'm going to call the distracting features the graph view, which I use sometimes and I bring it up. It looks cool, but I haven't really practically used it. And all of the million plugins you can get for Obsidian. Now, there is a plugin marketplace, there's community plugins, and there are a huge number of them. You can write your own. For the most part, though, you really don't need a lot of those plugins when you're getting started. In fact, I encourage you not to use any of those plugins when you're getting started and just get into Obsidian, start writing your notes, and start moving forward that way. A couple features I do want to call out though, and I'll try to show a video or something of these as I'm talking about them, is the linking feature of Obsidian. That's what makes it really powerful. It's really lightweight. You use double square brackets to link to different files, and you can use double square brackets with a hash symbol to link to headings within the same file. And that way you can traverse all of your notes across different files really easily. You can even preview them when you're doing it. I think it's a really great tool for doing things like writing your game design documents, writing ideas down, keeping track of your ideas, all kinds of note-taking stuff like that. The one downside though of Obsidian is when you share things with people, you have to make a PDF, and more or less that kind of sucks. Like, who wants to get a PDF? So that's something to keep in mind. I still think Obsidian is a great tool for you to get started with and a great tool for you to use on your game dev journey. All right, number 2 on our list of core tools getting started as a game dev is Davinci Resolve. And I know what you're thinking, Resolve is a video editing tool. You said you're talking about core tools, not specialist tools that have a single purpose. And Resolve's single purpose is making videos. Well, I'm making an exception for this one because regardless of what you're doing, you're going to be making video. At least I think you should be making video. That's how you're going to share things with people. Inevitably, you're going to have a clip somewhere that you're going to have to trim down when you share that thing, and Resolve is really great for doing that. In fact, that's why it was built. Resolve is not the easiest tool in the world to get started with, but don't be intimidated by all of its bells and whistles. You really only need 2 parts of it to get you through and to get you making videos quickly and easily. And that's the edit page and the publish page. So namely the page where you edit the video and the page where you just publish the video. And after the relatively short but relatively steep learning curve of Resolve, you're going to be able to make videos of your game. You're going to be able to show it off to people. You're going to be able to get feedback. And that's why I include it as a core tool rather than a specialist tool. Even if for some reason you decide to take a break from game dev, you're probably still going to be making videos. So that's why Resolve is a great thing for you to learn how to use, and it's a great tool to include in your core tools tool belt. Okay, here we go. The last of these core tools I'm going to talk about, number 3, that is Linear. Linear is a task tracking app. It's a project planning app. It's similar to Jira. If you've heard of Jira before, it's a really bloated thing that people use to keep track of their work in mostly software companies. But Linear is very lightweight. It can do a whole lot, and it is very powerful. In fact, a lot of modern startups, a lot of my friends that have their startups or that work in startups, they also use Linear in their day-to-day work to plan their work, and it's really easy for them to use, and it scales up really well. If you're only one person though and you're tracking your work, Linear also works really well for that. And that's why I think it's a great tool for you to use over more simplified tools like Trello or something like that. In fact, you don't really need to know anything about Linear's philosophy behind how to do sprint planning or what they call cycles, or any of the other methodology that goes into how to execute on plans. You can just use it as a task board, and it still works really well. And that flexibility is really one of its strengths and one of the reasons why I think it's a great core tool for a new game dev. You can start really simple with just a task board, and over time, as you grow in what you're doing, as you grow in your needs for managing a project, Linear can grow with you. I think Linear is really intuitive to use. I think it's really easy to get started with. Granted, I am a little biased because I'd used a bunch of different tools before I used Linear, but I've still taught other people to use it that have not done that, and they really haven't had any problems, and they've been going pretty well with it. One of the things that makes Linear really fast, though, is that it has tons of keyboard shortcuts. In fact, I think almost every action you can take in Linear has a keyboard shortcut. And once you learn what those shortcuts are, it's incredibly fast to get in there, plan your work, and then get back to work, which is the reason you're using that tool in the first place. The worst kind of planning tools are the ones that take more time than the actual work that you're planning. So that's all the tools I'm going to talk about today. I hope this gives you a strong starting set for you to get moving on your game dev journey with. As always, let me know what you think down in the comments. Hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.